Can you talk to me about some of the opportunities and challenges of entering into a partnership?
Oh, sure, why not? I think partnerships are becoming even more important in today's biological market. But the key question for me is what is each side really looking for? Because you have different objectives. For larger multinational companies, many are looking to strengthen portfolio differentiation. They want to complement traditional chemistry with biological solution, offer more integrated programs to growers, and stay competitive as agriculture evolves and demands change. For mid-sized companies, especially those that have been successful in their home markets, the priority is often different. They are looking for access to market like Brazil or the rest of Latin America, where growth potential is attractive, but entry can be very complex. On the other side, we have the local companies. Many local companies have a strong market knowledge, customer relationship, regulatory experience, and distribution network. But after difficult years of economic pressure, weather volatility, and margin compression, many of them are also more open to investment, strategic alliances, or a stronger commercial partnerships. So the opportunity for us is very clear. Partnership can accelerate market access, complement portfolios, and help both sides grow faster than they could be alone. But the challenge is the execution. The old model of shipping a product, living with a distributor, and returning a year later does not work anymore. Biologicals require market development, technical position, demand creation, and close follow-up with growers and channel. Shipping product is easy. Building the demand is the hard part. That is why successful partnerships need shared commitment. Both sides need to invest time, people, and resources to build the market together. So my view is simple on this point. Partnership is not a shortcut. It is a shared commitment to win market share. Sarah.
Well said. Thank you. Let's see. And Jose, we'll go with you next. Can you talk to me about some of the opportunities and challenges of entering into a partnership?
Okay, thank you, Sarah. Uh, uh, this is a very, very important question because, in my view, partnership today is become one of the most great growth motor in the biological market. So the speed that this biological market is moving in, thanks to many things, and one of them is the partnership between different players. No, that is a fundamental. And for me, the opportunity first is for the startup, for the small companies, access to the scale. Scale. I mean, a small company can gain manufacture capacity, regulatory, global commercial reach. And on the other hand, the biggest company can gain for this partnership innovation speed, for example. No? So today, this scale up of the business is a great opportunity in partnership in biological. No? The second element that, in my opinion, is key is basically risk sharing. When you are working in partnership, you are sharing risk. And we are working in biological, the risk is higher than in other things. Because as Ignacio said in the last question, that for me is I fully agree with him when he said, okay, after the registration is when the party really starts. Because it's not a registration of a chemical product that you know how it's going to work tomorrow and the day after. It's something that's really you need to demonstrate every day the performance of the product. No? So this risk sharing is fundamental. And in my opinion, another great opportunity is portfolio and innovation acceleration. Very often in the biggest company, to write the great partner can see like a wow, speed a lot the innovation capacity of the company. No? So in my opinion, it's a great opportunity, this type of partnership. But of course, when you speak about opportunities, there is the other side of the coin, no? The challenge. No? And first, align expectation. I see several times that this is the mother of the battles. When you find partnership in biological, it's very important to align expectation in terms of short-term sales or long-term project. No? The second element that is my opinion is super ultra great, important, is cultural match. For example, I don't know, the agility of the startup with the super corporative behavior of the big companies. No, this is black and white. No, and this is something that has to find to have the good alignment. And please never ever subestimate the biological complexity. Uh, uh, Scale up, risk, post-registration, as Ignacio said, a lot of execution excellence. You are working with more complex product that you need to explain the mode of action. So it's really more complex than a traditional chemistry product. So this aspect for me is super important. And we need to recognize that this process never is linear, never is linear. It's complex. And we have to ready to adapt ourselves for this modification. This is the life in biological market and fundamental. And finally, I don't know how to say, when you have a super great and well structured partnership, it's because you have clarity in the scope first. You have a very clear decision, right? Data ownership in biological is key. Strain ownership, intellectual property, etc., is fundamental. No? In any case, in my opinion, partnership today become a great opportunity in biological, and is one of the motor of the growth of this market.
All right. Thank you, Jose. And Kevin, we'll go with you next. Can you talk to me about some of the opportunities and challenges of entering into a partnership?
Our business has been built on partnerships over the last 25 years, and it is absolutely fundamental to have that shared objective and shared commitment, so that everyone's very clear about what it is that we're seeking to achieve and how we're going to manage that. As I just said, the pathway to the development of a biological product is not simple. It's complicated, and it requires a relationship between the partner and the developer, that is based on trust, and where communication is paramount. There is very good channels of communication to make sure everybody understands what's happening in the development pathway, and how any challenges that are encountered along the way can be overcome. So that's absolutely fundamental. And I think at the end of the day, the opportunities, certainly it exist in lots of different areas. So to have the balance in terms on both sides of the developer, and in terms of the technology and the expertise that resides within each of those parties, is important to make sure that there's a respect and a trust between them in order to actually move things forward. It is complicated, and I think, as Ignacio said, the story doesn't stop at registration. So that's where the story really starts. And it's not just us as a potential marketer of a biological product that has to have their story straight and has to have the confidence and the data to support the product. We have to then convince our distributors, who in turn have to convince the growers. So the support that is required, extends right down to the end user, and we have to be prepared at the start of this journey to make sure that we have the resources in order to make sure that can be delivered. And I think that's critical. But certainly, so there are challenges along the way, but the opportunities, I think, really are real and are growing fast.
All right, thank you. And last, Sebastian, can you talk to me about some of the opportunities and challenges you see of entering into a partnership?
Yeah, sure. So, I think, as the panelists have basically said, partnerships are essential to be successful. We sometimes hear a little bit the "not invented here" syndrome from some companies, but honestly, I think pretty much all of the major companies and the medium-sized ones, like Kevin just described, said, they've built their business on partnerships. That's what it's about. And then the question comes, which types of partners do you need, depending on what kind of product you have and where you're entering? You have, of course, the critical point of the right market access. And companies like Rovensa Next and Certis Belgium are excellent partners, I'm sure. But it's also about who is at the distribution level. So who is the actual contact point to the farmer? And that is typically, local distribution companies, often only in one country or in one region, some of them across multiple countries, but most of them are very local and often specialized in biocontrol in that sector. Because as is mentioned, the stewardship factor is a huge issue here. Now, outside of that pure go-to-market sector, what we have seen at Accumont that has been critical is actually what we call enabling technologies. So partnering with companies that offer digital services around precision application, precision identification of diseases, pests, and so on. There's such a lot going on in that area. We at Accumont have been supportive of a number of those companies developing technologies that originally were started out for conventional, but have really important use applications also for biologicals, because getting the biological on the plant to where it exactly needs to go to, I think formulations are critical there as well. But I think that's so it's not just I'll find a one-stop shop, I'll go to one of the big guys and they'll solve all my problems. Probably not. I've sat on that side of the fence, and I think you're probably better off going with mid-sized companies and being very selective where you enter. So don't, a lot of the startups we discuss talk about the global market and it's so and so many billion. And we say, well, that's very interesting, but it's actually about getting your product into a local market. So where are you going to start? Be very clear about focusing on where you want to enter, which crop, which country. Don't try and do the whole world. Do a few countries to start off with, establish a beachhead, gain experience, build up your partnerships, get your proof, get your data, and then you can grow after that. So those are my recommendations. Plenty of opportunity, but don't try to swallow the elephant whole. Start piece by piece.
All right. Thank you so much, Sebastian.